The ASICS Metaspeed Tokyo is one of the fastest racing shoes in the world, designed to help you run your best in the 5K, the marathon, and everything in between. It's a shoe so nice that they made it twice. Here's our full review of the shoe's two versions, the Sky and the Edge. So I'll admit that I was already a little obsessed with these shoes before even trying them on, because I've become a huge fan of ASICS' Metaspeed series over the years, which is the name that they give their best racing shoe year after year. It's been this way since 2021. And last year in particular, I loved their Paris edition. It was kind of a revolutionary super shoe because it seemed to pack all the punch of a bigger, bulkier super shoe like a Nike Alphafly, while weighing significantly less. And on top of that, it was a comfortable super shoe, it had decent grip, until Adidas came out with the Pro Evo 1, that crazy one marathon only shoe. I think that the Metaspeed Paris was the best shoe on the market. So I became very, very excited when I saw that there was an update in the Tokyo. And just like with the Paris, the Tokyo came in two separate forms that are kind of mirror images of each other. There's the Sky that's made for stride runners, so runners who get faster by lengthening their stride, and then the Edge for cadence runners, meaning runners who get faster by upping their cadence. And in this video, I'm going to help you determine whether you're a stride or a cadence runner. Just kidding. I have no idea how to do that. I don't even know which one I am. But I can tell you how both of these shoes are different on paper. So let's look at the specs. So let's start with what both shoes have in common, which, spoiler, is pretty much everything. They're priced the same, they have the same stack height, they have the same heel-to-toe drop, and the same shockingly low weight of 6 ounces. To me, that's the best feature of the shoe. 6 ounces is very light. Each shoe has a carbon plate, a super light motion wrap 3.0 upper that's very breathable and that, yeah, weighs just about nothing. And then a very bouncy midsole. But it's in the midsole where we see the difference. So in each shoe, the midsole is comprised of two foams, the two same foams. The first one is called FF Turbo Plus, and that's what ASICS had been using in many of their racing shoes, including the Metaspeed Paris from last year. So it's a very light, very responsive foam. The second type of foam is ASICS' new material called FF Leap, which supposedly is even lighter and even more responsive than their previous racing foam, the FF Turbo Plus. The difference between both shoes is in the positioning of the foams. The Edge has the Leap foam on the top, and the Sky has the Leap foam on the bottom. So again, mirror images of each other. There are two other minor differences. In the Sky, the carbon plate is positioned a little bit higher in the midsole, and the Sky's midsole is also a little bit thicker near the toe than it is in the Edge. Now, all that being said, when I first received both versions of this shoe, I was not so excited to pinpoint the minor differences between both because I figured that they would be minimal. I was more interested in seeing how the Tokyo had improved upon the Paris, because the game has changed this year. When the Paris came out last year, it was seen right away as one of the top shoes on the market, but I figured that the Tokyo would have some more work to do, because since the Paris was released last year, other companies have come to play. Puma released the Faster Nitro Elite 3, which became the lightest super shoe on the market. And Adidas came up with the Pro Evo and then eventually the Pro Evo 2, which uses a different type of foam, so ATPU foam, which is very light and very responsive. So I wondered if the Tokyo would be on the same level as that Puma shoe or that Adidas shoe, because technically the Tokyo isn't even ASICS' most advanced super shoe anymore. The brand is quietly launching a new super shoe, the Metaspeed Ray, which apparently is like a full ounce lighter than the Tokyo, is using all ATPU foam in its midsole, and is still making its way to North America. So we still don't have our hands on it, but I'm very curious to try it. And with the Ray looming somewhere out there, I couldn't help but wonder, where does the Tokyo stand? Should we still consider it one of the very best super shoes in the world? Is it still an apex predator? On to the wear test. Okay, I'm gonna put on one of the pairs of ASICS, either the Sky or the Edge. I haven't looked, and I'm gonna guess which pair I'm wearing during this wear test. So just to make sure I'm not cheating,
I'm gonna throw this hat down. Okay, right foot. Okay, that's one. Call this proprioception. Learned this in kinesiology, 2nd year. We're gonna double knot just in case. All right, ready to go. Okay, nice and bouncy. Feel like I'm definitely picking it up by increasing my cadence. That would probably make me go faster. Also, I think making my stride longer would likely make me go faster. Okay, let's see here. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch it. I do feel a bit of spring. I think I'm making things up now. Oh, geez, I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna go with my gut. It's the edge. Edge?
No.
Is it Sky? No, come on. All right. Well, there you go. It's very hard to tell. Do I lose my shoe reviewer card? No. I dare other people, I dare someone else to do this challenge. Record your own video and try to differentiate the edge from the Sky. I bet you won't be able to. I mean, you have 50% chance. The backstory is I've worn the Edge and the Skies now for a few workouts. No easy runs. This is kind of unusual. I wouldn't put a Metaspeed on for an easy run usually. And they're both awesome. Like my 2 first hard threshold workouts of the year, I alternated. And I went once in the Metaspeeds, Skies, and then once in the Edges. I really struggle to tell a difference, but the important part is both of those shoes are very, very good. They, just like the Parises, are just as powerful as much bigger shoes, and they're even lighter than the Parises. You can feel that they're a whole lot lighter than an Alphafly. They're like a top tier super shoe, which makes me really, really, really want to try the Ray to see how different they are from the Tokyo. But hey, if you can't find the Ray, get the Tokyo, and you can tackle any start line, any race distance.
So let's rate the ASICS Metaspeed Tokyo. And I made a decision here. We're going to rate the Edge and the Sky together because the differences are so minimal that they're pretty much too small to account for, and we're going to give them the same score. So this is an aggregate rating of 2 shoes that are almost identical. So let's start, as always, with design. The Tokyo is not all that different from the Paris, and so these are the only marks that I'm docking, is maybe a lack of innovation from last year to this year, but I'm not going to be a hard ass on this because the Paris was already so strong, a really strong and powerful shoe in a small container. I really loved that design, and so to an extent you can't fix what's not broken. Plus the FF Leap is obviously a really good touch, so it gets an 8.2. Next up is performance. Now, we don't know how fast the Ray might be, and I know that we tend to grade shoes kind of on a curve, but until we know more about the Ray, we're stuck with what we do know. And what I do know is that the Tokyo and both of its editions are incredibly fast. I would be confident wearing them on any start line, pretty much any road distance. It gets an 8.7. Next is comfort. Now, just like the Paris, the Tokyo is one of the best feeling super shoes on my feet. It's got a good amount of cushion underfoot, no blisters, doesn't make me pronate wildly. I don't have that unstable feeling on top of a tall midsole. It's just a very responsive shoe, and I can almost feel the ground under me even if I do have a lot of cushion under my feet. So, 8.3. And finally, value. Now, $270 is a little bit expensive for a super shoe, but keep in mind that the Tokyo is on the top end of speed and its previous models have been very durable. Also, the fact that only some of its midsole is made of this new ATPU foam, which hasn't been known to be all that durable, probably gives it a bit more of a lifespan than the Metaspeed Ray, though the jury is still out on that. So we gave it a value score of 8.2. Which brings the overall score for the Metaspeed Sky and Edge Tokyo to 8.4. And finally, the verdict. Should you buy the ASICS Metaspeed Tokyo, either Sky or Edge? If you've been a Metaspeed lover in the past, I'd say that these shoes are the natural progression from the Parises. And alternatively, if you've never tried the Metaspeeds and you're sick of like big, bulky feeling super shoes that kind of give you too much separation from the ground, for some reason, even though the stack height is the same standard, just about 40 millimeters from the ground, there's just a better ground feel to these shoes than something like, say, an Alphafly. And so if you want something that feels a little bit smaller and faster and that encourages a quick turnover, I would encourage you to try a Metaspeed shoe. Now, you might ask the question, should I buy a Sky or an Edge? Still at this point, I'm saying that if you can get your hands on either, don't fret on whether you're a stride or a cadence runner, because I still don't detect much of a difference between the two. I'd love to learn more about how I can find this out for myself. It's been kind of hard to figure that part out. But if you are in the market for a shoe that's just lightning quick and that'll suit you well for a 5K, a marathon, or anything in between, I would encourage you to try these ones. And one last thing to keep in mind, if you do buy a pair, I would encourage you to save them for races only. You can probably find something that's a little bit more cushioned and protective for your workouts. Also, I'd say that these shoes, at least the past version, was good for about 300 to 350 kilometers. And so you might want to save them for their fastest day. If you want to stay into the ASICS and are looking for a workout shoe, you might be better off looking at a Magic Speed or even a Super Blast, because they're a little bit more durable and have a bit more protection to them, and then save these guys for race day. And that's all for this review. Now, if you think you are able to detect the difference between a Sky and an Edge without looking at the names, let me know how you do it, because I'm still struggling. And thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please feel free to share it with someone else who might think the same, because our goal is to connect with as many runners as possible, just like you. Happy running, and until next time.